Hello, everyone. As we all know, at the end of the semester, we're required to turn in a signed copy of our gradebooks to the Liberal Arts Division office. So, this instructional video is going to show everyone how to do that by exporting the gradebook from D2L into Excel. So, let's go ahead and get started. And what you're looking at here is our form shell. And the reason I have that shell up on screen is because I certainly wouldn't want to show you how to export the gradebook through, let's say, one of my own courses, because we would be looking at students' grades. That would be a FERPA violation. So in this form shell, everyone has a student role. So what I did is I just created a fake gradebook. So all of us as instructors are in there as students, and we all got a grade in the course, and so there's nothing that's a FERPA violation about that. You'll all be happy to know you got a B in the course. So, well, A's are hard to come by. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to click on Grades on the gray toolbar, and that will take us to the gradebook. And as we can see, all instructors are in there. I just applied the same grade for everyone, and we all finished with a low range B. So, now how do we export to Excel? Well, the first thing we want to do is click the Export button. And now we have to set up all the parameters. So what kinds of things do we want to go into the gradebook? Well, we certainly need their org-defined ID. That's their student ID number. And I'm going to leave that off because really there's no reason why we should all see each other's user ID. So I'm just going to put username. Okay, but for students, we would do the org-defined ID. Okay, we want the points for grade. Let's see, certainly the last name and the first name. We do not need the email. And now we start looking at what grades we want to export. Well, we don't really need all of these subtotals. Thank you very much for that message. Okay, we don't need all of these subtotals, so I'm going to start unchecking them. Now, I use a gradebook based on points. For some of you, you use a weighted gradebook. So when you get to the big category at the end, like if you have one big category, daily work, well, every little assignment in there, you don't need the subtotal. But maybe if there's one final subtotal for that whole category of daily work, that one you might leave checked. But I'm going to go ahead and get rid of all my subtotals, because for me, the way I have the gradebook set up in my courses, I can fit it all on one page. Yours may go a second page, and if so, that's okay. So I'm getting rid of all my subtotals. I know this is the exciting part of the instructional video, watching me uncheck subtotal boxes, but I want to show you everything. We're almost done here. And so, okay, now I use a final calculated grade, so I'll uncheck the adjusted grade, and you have a choice, CSV, comma separated value, or Excel. Choose the Excel one, that's certainly the better choice, and we click that, and it'll take a moment to populate a report, and there it is. And so I'm going to click that, and it will open up in Excel, of course, open with Excel, okay, and here we go. All right, now we have this sort of neat little gradebook, and I'm going to enable editing. And the first thing that I want to do is save this file somewhere where I can find it and give it a name. I'm not going to bother doing that right now, but we would want to do that. And I would probably call it something like Stevens.English1301.1001.SP14 for spring 14. So I would give it a name where I can easily find it and identify what it was at a later date. Now I want to click this little box here because it will highlight everything. And then, well, let's see. Don't show this message again, might be a good thing to choose for that. Okay. And now that I have everything highlighted, I want to come up here and click on Data. And I'm going to click on Sort, because look at everything, it's out of order, right? It's not in alphabetical order. The last name, for Joanna, Scott, comes before D for Dean. So we want to click data over here and then sort. And we have to make sure that this box is checked. My data has headers. And we can choose then last name. See, if I don't have this box checked, I'll uncheck it, then there's no option for last name. So make sure that's checked. And we're going to sort by last name. I'm going to say OK. And look at that. We have this nice now sort of alphabetized deal here. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to shrink or expand as appropriate each of these columns. Get everybody's name in there. Okay. And I always leave just enough room, and so I'm going to do that throughout. And you're going to see something come up here because I'm going to pause this. Okay, and what you can see now is that I've got each column where you can read everything. This actually says pre-test points. Well, I don't need it to take up that much room. It's enough that we know there was something called pre, and these students got 10 points on it. Quiz 1, I've shrunken. It says quiz 1 points. I don't need it to take up that much room on the page. Quiz 1. Now I have this column I have for a late penalty. Well, nobody got one. So that's extra information. I'm just going to delete that column. And I'm going to pause this guy again so you don't have a long video to sit through. Okay, so what you can see is I've spared you watching me shrink every column, but I have shrunken every column. And now we have this calculated final grade denominator. So I clicked in there, and I'm going to double click, and I'm going to delete everything in there. It just takes up too much room. And for me, I type in grade. And I use points. So all these students, this student, for instance, got 804.1 points out of 1,000. That's obviously an 80%. And what I do is I just blank out all this 1,000 stuff. I don't really need that. And I come back in and I'll enter just the grade, like a B, the appropriate grade that matches, whatever grade they got there. And I'll shrink that column. And so, okay. Now I'm almost ready with my grade book, but I want to do a few things to make this a little friendlier. I'm clicking on Insert, Header, and I'm going to put in a few things here. I'm going to put in John Stevens, English 1301-1001, spring 2014. Okay. And so now I have got that nice header in there, and I'm going to click this guy again to highlight everything. I'm going to bold everything so it's easier to read. And now I'm going to come over to page layout. And the reason I want to do that is because I want the grid lines to print, so it's easier to read. So I'm going to check that little box. Let me come back home here, and I'm just going to go to print, and let's see what we've got. We've got a partial grade book here. I mean, it only goes up to quiz 6, and I have a lot more columns than that. So I want to do this not as a portrait, but as a landscape. Now remember, the last column was quiz 6. Now we got up to quiz 9, but that's still not everything. So what I'm going to do is take this no scaling box, and I'm going to fit sheet on one page. And well, now I've got something there. And so if you print yours and it's too much, by too much I mean this font is so tiny that you really can't read it, well then you certainly could undo this fit sheet on one page and let it be more than one page if you have to. Mine, it's still readable, so I can go ahead and print it, and I'm going to end up now with something that I can just put my signature on and turn in to the Liberal Arts Division. So I hope that this is helpful, and I hope everybody has a much easier time when they're going to export their gradebook and turn it into the liberal arts division. If you have any questions, please let me know. Thanks.